The 18 Strong Podcast, episode number 83. It's Masters Week.
You know, throughout the years where I'm like, I pinch myself like did it really happen? And, then I sign another 2007 Masters flag and I'm getting, yeah, it still did happen.
Welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast, where you get direct access to the world's greatest experts on training harder, practicing smarter, and playing better golf. Now, here's your host, Jeff Pellizzaro.
Hello, and welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast, the Green Jacket edition. As you know, it's Masters Week. I can basically hear the birds chirping from Augusta National right now as I speak. And, of course, we have a special guest on the episode today. Last year for Masters Week, we had Jim Holtgreave, episode number 33, which was a fantastic episode with a buddy of mine who's played in 5 majors. And so, of course, we wanted to do something very special again this year, following up on that one. And I don't know that we could have hit a bigger home run with having Zach Johnson, a 2007 Masters winner. He's played in, I believe, as of this year, will be his 12th Masters that he has been able to participate in. And not only that, he is the current champion from the 2015 Open Championship. So it's hard to say that we could get a better guest on the show, and the timing couldn't have been perfect. I literally interviewed Zach this past Saturday while he was heading to Augusta. So just the setting couldn't have been better. Zach is basically known as a bulldog out on the course, but they say that it was him mastering the short game that really won him the green jacket in 2007. And so I wanted to kind of take Zach on a little bit of a storytelling journey and have him give us a lot of details on the Masters and what it was like. So I had so many questions that I could have asked him. I could have had him on the line for 2 hours, but with all these different questions, I wanted to make sure that, being the Masters edition, that we got some inside stories of the green jacket, what the experience was like, what it's like to be a champion and know that you have the ability to play in the Masters for the rest of your life. And Zach was super open and willing to share some of these stories, and not only stories about the Masters, but we also get into some great stories about the Open Championship, the Claret Jug, and many, many other things. So unfortunately, I did not get a chance to ask much about fitness or his training regimen or his schedules or even his team, which I know is a huge part of Zach's success, and he speaks to that a little bit in this episode. And he's one of the guys that really brought about the team approach that he accredits winning these championships to. So I want to just acknowledge that. And before I introduce Zach, I want to give a quick thanks to the sponsor of today's episode, which is Super Speed Golf. And if you don't know what Super Speed Golf is, if you haven't heard about this yet, I did an episode with the guys from Super Speed in episode number 64. And basically, it's a 3-club training system that uses the principle of overspeed training, which is something that I use pretty much on a daily basis with my clients in the gym. And it's a way to basically improve your club head speed, improve your rhythm, improve your motion. And I can personally say that we've seen some definite improvements in swing head speed since implementing the Super Speed Golf system into our program. So far, the research has shown an average of about 5% increase in club head speed over the 6-week protocol of using the clubs, which basically equates to about 5 miles per hour if you swing the club at 100 miles per hour. So that's like an extra 10 to 15 yards off the tee box. And I can personally attest to one of my clients who's in his early 70s, couldn't swing past 85, 86 miles an hour or so. And after just implementing this for a few weeks, really, he was clocked at 96 or 98 miles an hour. And he's been in Florida the past couple months and has continuously sends me texts that he's amazed at how far he's hitting the ball and how well he's striking the ball. So definitely just wanted to say thanks to the guys from Super Speed Golf for supporting 18 Strong in the podcast. So if you want to check them out or get your hands on a set of Super Speed golf clubs, go to 18strong.com/superspeed, and it'll direct you where to go. And you can get a 10% discount by using the code 18strong in the checkout. But again, just go to 18strong.com/superspeed, and you can find out more information. All right. I am very, very excited and honored to introduce to you the winner of the 2007 Masters and the man that's in current possession of the 2015 Open Championship Claret Jug, Mr. Zach Johnson. Hey, Zach, thank you for coming on. I can't tell you how much of an honor it is to have you on the special Masters edition of the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So you are literally on the road to the Masters right now, which just couldn't work out any more perfectly.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Yeah, no, it's a nice little jaunt. I live in southeast Georgia, and I just got to go a little bit north, and I will be there, getting ready to play certainly this week. But I'm actually taking my brother-in-law out to play there tomorrow. He's never played, so we should have a great day.
Oh, very nice. Well, I want to ask a couple questions, just get a little background on you to kind of share your story with the audience. So you, obviously, we know you're from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. My first question is, growing up in Iowa, Cubs fan or Cards fan?
You know, I'm probably in the minority, but my first Major League Baseball game was at Busch Stadium back in the mid-'80s. So, you know, it was Ozzie and Terry Pendleton, Willie McGee, all those guys. So I'm definitely a Cardinals fan. And I currently live on an island that where Adam Wainwright is from and lives in the off season. So he's a good friend, and it has enhanced my Cardinal fanhood.
I love it. I'm actually from St. Louis, Missouri. Live in St. Louis, born and raised. So very happy to hear that you're on our side of the fence.
Oh yeah, no, it's you know, I guess, you know, I might be one of those guys where I'm just like, okay, let the Cubs win one once, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, maybe not.
So speaking of Sea Island, I have a client that belongs to Frederica and goes down there, and he just tells me, he just speaks so highly of it. What is it about Sea Island? I know there's a lot of guys on tour that live there, play there. What is it about Sea Island that's so special? Well,
you know, you touched upon one aspect of it. Frederica is pretty special. That's on the north side of St. Simon, Sea Island. It's all kind of synonymous, but it's a fantastic facility. That's actually where I prep for Augusta and a lot of tournaments. But they really do a great job at catering to the pros' needs, wants from a practice standpoint, so that when we leave, you know, when we get on the road, it's, you know, wherever we go for a tournament, you know, we're not too far off as far as the setup of the golf course. So Frederica certainly is way up there. Ocean Forest is another one that is out of this world. That's actually on Sea Island. It's a very tight golf course, one that, you know, from a driving standpoint, you really got to pay attention, and very difficult around the greens as well. So it's two really good tests there. And then Sea Island, you got Seaside, Retreat, Plantation, three other golf courses that are top notch. We play the RSM out at Seaside and Plantation at the Logs there, and unbelievable amenities, unbelievable views, certainly right there on the sound, and championship style golf. So really spoiled from a golf standpoint. It's a tremendous place. It's certainly, I mean, I would put it up with anywhere that I've been, and I obviously travel quite a bit. You know, I think it just really, you can get any kind of wind you want, you can get any kind of surface you want for the most part, and really hone in your craft and get your game ready. Now, you know, that's not the only reason we moved there. I mean, it's the islands there, the Golden Isles, specifically St. Simons. You know, it does have the golf amenities. It does have that. Checks that off the list, so to speak. But you know, the best part about it is it's just a great community. You know, great people, great schools, churches, food, you know, and the like. So awesome amenities that Sea Island puts out. But it's more than just a vacation destination. It's a place you can live, and that's what's fun.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things, and you know, he said the hospitality down there is incredible. Obviously, the barbecue is very good. I think we saw on David Faraday, you were at one of the barbecue restaurants that you love. Yeah. Southern Soul Barbecue, kind of right centralized on the island there on a roundabout. It's been there for years, and I've known the guys now for a good while. Tremendous barbecue joints and good people. You know, they've got their way of doing it, and it's very, very good. And it's the little things too that make it great, whether it's the side dishes or the meats and how they smoke them. But they do an awesome job catering and at the restaurant. So
very generous too. I mean, if I can plug them in the sense that Southern Soul and some of their friends in Atlanta, Fox Brothers Barbecue, they've both been to my foundation event up in Cedar Rapids. Probably the last 3 or 4 years, they've kind of split time, but very generous and giving back and trying to help, their community and their own. And once again, that's what that community is all about.
That's awesome. All right, if I could take you back on memory lane a little bit, since this is kind of
Sure.
the Masters edition, we've got the big tournament coming up this week. If you could take us back to the first time that you got to play in the Masters at Augusta, what was it like? What was it going up on that first tee? What was going on in your head? What were you thinking?
Sure. No, you know what? That's actually a really good question. My rookie year was 2004 on the PGA Tour, and I won Atlanta the week before, which now technically would get me in the Masters, but at that time, a win didn't get you in. It was based on, I can't remember all the criteria, but it was, a number of different types of formulas and qualification process. But the win didn't get me in, and I knew that going into it. So my first Augusta experience was 2005. I was defending in Atlanta, and in 2005, I don't remember how many holes we played Thursday to Sunday, but I know it wasn't more than 18. So we actually had a Monday finish in Atlanta. I think it was a 36-hole tournament, maybe even a 54-hole tournament. And as a result, you got to play. And so at that point, living in Orlando at the time, it wasn't the easiest jaunt to get to Augusta National to play. So it was really not a great recipe for success for your first time at the Masters, but my first practice round was Tuesday, the week of the tournament in 2005. And, one of those situations where I kind of wish I would have done something different, but it was just the way it worked out. And as a result, I had to go out and do it. I remember Tuesday, I'm playing a practice round, and the first hole, I had a driver and a 7-iron and made a birdie. And I'm thinking, all right, here we go.
Pretty good start.
Big deal. But yeah, pretty good start. And then the tournament comes along, and I don't remember what I made in the first hole, but I just remember, I felt like a deer in the headlights around those greens. I hit it okay. I played with Marco Mira, which was terrific, being a former champion in his own right. And, he hit it okay. He hit it great. But he made the cut by like 3 or 4 or 5 shots and just putted and wedged it and chipped it and knew where to miss it. And, I won't ever forget those 2 days, that Thursday and Friday. I missed the cut by a ton. And, the other thing I remember that Thursday, Friday, I can't remember which day it was. It might have been both days for that matter. We had some rain one evening or even during the tournament, but nothing significant. Wet enough that you could see it and feel it. And I'm like, well, these are wet now. They're going to be slow. Well, of course, it's Augusta National. Those greens are fast when it's soupy. I mean, they just get them slick. They can suck the moisture out in a matter of seconds, it seems like. So it's a beautiful place and a place that, it's a tournament like no other, as they say. And, it's an honor to play in it. It's great to be there. It's an honor to play in it. It's hard to put into words to win it.
So when you did win in 2007, what was your mentality going into that tournament? Were you really confident going in? How was your game at that time? And then what were the differences between?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, I felt good. I mean, granted, I'm a little more experienced now with the golf course. In 2006, I made the cut. I remember playing really good on Sunday, which, you kind of think Sunday pins. You think Sunday at Augusta. You're like, man, you know what? You get a good round here on a Sunday. I mean, who's to say you can't, compete year in, year out? And so there was a little bit of confidence there going into the next year. I think my game, that late winter, early spring was okay. I had a couple decent finishes on tour in 2007. If anything, the confidence that, and probably just the realization that I really could do some good work out here probably came in 2006 at the Ryder Cup. Hitting shots in the Ryder Cup under duress all the time, stressful situations, when there's a lot of gravity and weight in the situation. Doing that repeatedly, you can do something all right. So that helped a lot too. So there's all those things are kind of in my favor. Now I got there in 2007, And I feel okay about my game. My driver wasn't feeling terrific. I actually switched drivers after Friday, which is not that big of a deal, but, it's still a change. So, I'm going along, and I'm playing the practice rounds, and it's kind of wet, and it's cold, and, one of those things where I'm just like, man, the ball's not rolling for the most part. I'm hitting a lot of 5-irons. It seems occasionally a 4-iron or a 3-iron into a par 4, and I'm like, I just got no chance on a golf course like this. And I'm walking up 18. I remember on Wednesday afternoon in my practice round, I'm playing with Stuart Sink, one of my buddies, and Luke Donald. And, I'm just kind of, I'm not overly obnoxious, but I'm just, bitter. I'm just like, man, I'm pumping a 4-iron into the 18th hole, and I'm wearing that out. I'm like, I got no chance this week. Well, lo and behold, the wind picks up, dries the place out. You get a little bit of roll. It was a very difficult week. One of the coldest weeks they've had on record. Certainly the coldest that I've ever played in. They haven't had one remotely like that since. I think the highest high we had that year was probably 60. Just a week that I didn't feel great about necessarily, but I felt good about my game. And, when conditions kind of flip and you feel like you got some wedge control and some putting control, good things can happen. And so, maybe it was a lesson learned on lowering or having no expectations. I don't know, but it was a fantastic week.
How long did it take to sink in that you actually won?
I don't even know if it fully has. I mean, there's times, throughout the years where I'm like, I pinch myself like, did it really happen? And, then I sign another 2007 Masters flag, and I'm getting, yeah, it still did happen. So, it was the way I explained that week, and a lot of shock and awe, I wasn't supposed to win, which probably was a good thing as far as taking the pressure off. So I was, even myself, I didn't necessarily think I was going to win. I was kind of shocked. I was more or less surprised. I think at the time I was about 50th in the world, not like I was killing it or anything, on the PGA Tour. So, I was a little bit shocked, but the awe, is really what hit me and still does to this day. I mean, it was just one of those, weeks where you're just completely humbled, and just in awe. I mean, that's the bottom line. But fantastic. I mean, the whole week, starting on Thursday, tapping in on Sunday, Easter Sunday, it was special. Having my family there, having some friends there. I don't know what Storybook is, but it's got to be pretty close to Storybook.
It sounds pretty close. Can you share with us, what is it when a golfer wins the Masters? I know that, basically your life changes, but what are some of the privileges that you get? I know you get to play in the Masters, I believe, is for the rest of your life, correct?
That's, yes, you can participate in the tournament, as far as I know, within reason, as long as you would like to, yeah.
And then what's it like going back as a champion, going to the Champions Dinner? Do you have a locker in Augusta National? Right.
Yeah. No. So here's the gist of it. I'm learning as I go. It's not like they give you a spreadsheet of protocol. But the Masters Championship. First of all, you do get the green jacket for 1 year, which I learned at about 1 a.m. that night from a bartender in Butler Cabin. Wasn't aware of that one. So you get the jacket. Yeah, and you're not technically a member. You have a green jacket, but your green jacket is a symbol of the Masters champion. My locker is situated not in the members' locker room, but in the champions' locker room. I have shared my locker. Well, I shared my locker 2007 through 2015 with the late Billy Casper, who just passed away last year,
wow.
which was a sweet moment in a sense that he was one of the first guys to welcome me into the fraternity of winners, and a guy that always just befriended me, and we had great conversations. But also a moment that was extremely difficult because of just that. He was an iconic golfer, but a better person and a great family man, etc. I mean, everything you strive to be. So sorely missed, certainly in that around that table on Tuesday night, which leads me to my next point. Yes, there's a we have a Champions Dinner that Tuesday evening. of Masters Week, hosted by Billy Payne, the chairman, by the current champion, or the previous year's champion. This year, obviously, it'll be Jordan, and then emceed and emceed by Ben Crenshaw. Ben was given the seat by the late Byron Nelson, who I was fortunate enough to meet. And then prior to that, the individual that set that table, if you will, or set that evening, was Ben Hogan. So Ben Hogan gave it to Byron Nelson before he passed. So that evening is really hard to explain in words. I mean, there's some years where, it's a couple cocktails and then some hors d'oeuvres and dinner or a picture and then dinner and then you're out. Some years it's, there's the conversations a little bit more heavy and candid and fun and emotional, et cetera. So there's, you just don't know what you're going to get, and you don't necessarily know who all is going to be there. I mean, you hope that all the living past champions will be there, but it doesn't always work out like that. Some of them are getting old, and it's not exactly the easiest thing to travel, and whatnot. So, but the beauty of it is that the individuals really try to get there. Augusta National does a terrific job on allowing them to, get back there with their family and catering and hosting and just being very hospitable. So it's a fun evening. Billy Payne and his people there have done a terrific job in keeping that legacy of that night going. A lot of fun. So something that I cherish. And, the fact that I can go back and play Augusta National basically when I want to is very nice. The fact that I can go back and play in the tournament every year is still hard to swallow. I hope I'm old and gray and still, bringing my grandkids out there and showing them, what it's all about. But that being said, I think I could get another green jacket, so that's kind of my focus at this point.
We're rooting for you, man. We're definitely rooting for you. Can I ask you, what's the coolest thing that you can share on the airwaves that you did in the green jacket?
Those that kind of know me, I'm not exactly the most outlandish of individuals. I'm like to have a good time, but I don't know, I'm pretty conservative. I'm trying to think, go back, that was 9 years ago. I don't think I did anything overly, I know I didn't do anything. Well, I did get slapped in the wrist. I did wear it with jeans in New York, which was a no-no, but I didn't know. Ignorance is bliss, I guess, in that regard. But I got a little bit, another good story. I had the green jacket, obviously, that night, Sunday, and I'm flying to New York to do the media blitz or whatever with the PGA Tour. And at that point, my wife and I were traveling in an RV coach. And, so it's not like I have everything in there. And so I got the jacket, but I don't have anything to put it in, and I'm going to New York. So I don't want it just, draped on my shoulder, and I, don't want to parade around in it, flaunting it through the streets of Times Square. So I put a garbage bag over it. Well, now, starting in 2008, when I put the green jacket on Trevor Immelman, he's got this nice embroidered, dark green garment bag that says Trevor Immelman in gold stitching. And anyway, I kind of, maybe set a nice standard for everybody else in that regard. But, I haven't done anything. I used it for charity events, my own charity events. I used it for some corporate events. I used it for golf-related events. I think the best thing about that jacket is, you don't really have to explain it. It has its own personality. It has its own, I guess you'd say, identity. And, it everybody knows what it is. And that's what's cool. So sharing it, with friends, family, and that sort of thing has been very, well, the Claret Jug is right in those, goes right along with that. But sharing that piece of garment with friends and family was probably one of the coolest things I've been able to experience. There's not everybody's a 40 reg, but, you can still let them be around it. So that's kind of fun.
That's so cool. Hey, I know we're running short on time, but if I could ask you just one more question.
Sure.
Obviously, the Open Championship, you won your second major. what was the difference, or what's the difference between winning the Masters and then winning that last year? I mean, just in regards to your expectations, where you were in your career, and just the experience of that too at the home of golf, obviously at St. Andrews.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, I kind of said it. Augusta was shock and awe. I would say that the Open Championship last year was just awe. I mean, I wasn't overly surprised that, one, I was in contention, and two, that I won. I mean, I felt like my game, certainly in 2015, was far better than what it was in 2007. I had some other opportunities to win majors, in that time span, but there's only 4 a year. It's very difficult. So, you try to make the best of your opportunities when presented. The Open Championship has probably been my favorite tournament to play in since I played it, just because we don't have anything like it over here. True links golf and championship links golf is just it's just so fantastic. It's so pure. I mean, it's just, you can tell that's the way the game was developed and presented. I mean, it's just, and then to have it at the birthplace of the game, essentially at St. Andrews, and winning on those grounds. I'm in awe, man. That's really all you can say. Hoisting the Claret Jug, I'm in awe. I mean, it's something that, again, to play in the tournament is terrific. To win it, it's hard to put into words. It's been the one that I've wanted the most, and to have that realized makes it even that much more special. Having my wife there that week, when she typically doesn't necessarily go, every year at least, made it special. And now this week I'll be able to introduce my green jacket to the Claret Jug, which is just seems so, I don't know, surreal. So, it's fantastic. I mean, the Claret Jug is just one of those things, again, where you travel around with it. I take it here, I take it there. I've had essentially my entire team have it for a period of time with their families, their clinics, their whomever, because that's what it's about. It is, as far as I'm concerned, it is a team sport. And those coaches and guys that I trust and guys that trust me, they're a big part of that. So as a result, they don't fit into a 40 reg, but they can drink out of a Claret Jug. So we'll let them do that. And we've had some good stories with the jug. I will certainly tell you that. But it's fun. I don't even have the jug right now. I guess I'll see it this week. One of my buddies will bring it in. So a lot of fun. I mean, just seeing your name engraved on that piece of silver is mind-boggling.
Well, I'll have to poke and prod Dr. Troy for some stories about that Claret Jug.
Well, I'll give you one if you want one really quick.
Oh man, I would love one.
Okay, this one just doesn't seem like it's possible, but it's the truth. Okay, so obviously the British Open win the Claret Jug. I got the Claret Jug now, and we're going to the PGA Championship in Wisconsin, Whistling Straits. And I didn't play very well those 2 days. Driver was terrible. Caddy gave me a bad yardage on the last hole. Made bogey, missed the cut by a shot, whatever. So that's not true, but I did miss the cut. My parents are there. They came up from Iowa, not too far, as you alluded to. Cedar Rapids, the Milwaukee area is like 3.5, 4 hours maybe. So they're up there, and my mom's this petite little thing. She comes up to me and goes, I know you didn't play very well, Zach, but is there any way you can go out to dinner with Dad and I tonight? I'm like, yeah, Mom, of course. My family wasn't there. My wife and 3 kids, so I'm like, of course. I mean, you're my mom and you're my dad. Of course, I'll go out to eat with you. I'll bring the jug and we'll have a nice dinner. So I go back to the hotel, bring the jug down, just walk into the restaurant, and one of my buddies is there. He's like, "Hey, Z, what'd you do to the jug?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's funny. That's funny." No, he's like, "Really? What'd you do to the jug?" Well, sure enough, at the narrowest part of the stem of the jug, it was the soldering had started to peel off or come off, and about 50 degrees of it was attached.
Huh.
So I'm like, are you kidding me? 3 weeks into having arguably one of the oldest trophies for it, and I've already busted the Claret Jug. That's 142 years old, or something like that. 143 years old. Like that's total Zach Johnson. That's exactly what I do. I mean, are you kidding me? So whatever. It still held liquid. We still used it that night. Had a good time. But now I've got a corporate event Monday in Minneapolis, and then I'm actually, for you to hear, but I'm actually throwing the first pitch out at Wrigley Field for the BMW Championship
Yeah, I saw that.
In preparation for the BMW Championship. I have a relationship with BMW, and so yada, yada, yada. I was able to go to Wrigley, and you take advantage of that because it's Wrigley Field. So
sure.
They both events, Monday and Tuesday, they both won the Claret Jug. I get it. I would too. So now I got my manager and I working on it. What do we do? What do you do? So it's just he and I. It's Saturday. We're like, oh my gosh, let's go to Home Depot. So we try to use epoxy. We tried to use super glue. Nothing worked. So we're stuck now. And we go to Minneapolis. I've got a corporate event that Monday. I'm playing golf with my sponsor and some other people and clientele. I'm like, Brad, who's my manager, I'm like, just get it fixed. I don't care how you get it fixed, get it fixed. So he takes it to a jeweler, maybe a goldsmith or whatever. He's like, we got a trophy here. Can you look at it? He's like, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, no, sir, I'm not working on that. I know what that is. I'm not touching that. He was honest. He's like, you need to find a silversmith. Well, do you know of a silversmith? Actually, this is where you go. So they drove away, went to a silversmith, walk in, kind of what you'd expect. There's trophies and silver everywhere. So they're like, hey, you know what? We may be onto something here. Hey, we have a time-sensitive trophy that's really, really old that kind of has some weight and meaning to it. Do you think you can help us out? He's like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. So the silversmith looks at it. He's like, yeah, I got you. I can do this. And my manager's like, okay, well, understand, this is really old, and it goes to the British Open Championship. He's like, buddy, I got it. I can do it for you. He's like, okay, well, I appreciate that, but, this is the Claret Jug, 143 years old. It's really, he's like, buddy, I got it. I've worked on it before.
Huh.
And then my manager's like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, I worked on it for Tom Lehman in 1996. So the same silversmith in Minneapolis, St. Paul, has worked on a Claret Jug twice, which is kind of random.
Which
anyway,
begs the question.
That's the long version, but
begs the question: what did Tom Lehman do to it?
I've talked to the Lehmans, Melissa in particular, his wife, and a couple of the daughters. I guess the girls were playing around with it and busted it. It's old. It's a very light piece of silver, and the bottom's very heavy with the wood. So it has a little bit of weight to it on the bottom, and it just control. It's old. The bottom thing it's old. It is really, really old, but it's fantastic.
Awesome, great story. Thank you for sharing that. Really.
No, my pleasure.
Appreciate it, and thanks for being so generous with your time today, Zach. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, one quick. The audience would be disappointed if I didn't ask Caddyshack or Happy Gilmore.
No, it's not even close. Caddyshack.
I had a feeling. All right,
not
man.
even close.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Safe travels. Good luck this week. We're all pulling for you, and we want to see you put that green jacket on again.
Yeah, cheers. Much appreciated. Y'all be well.
All right, take care. I can't tell you how much of an honor it was, and really just how much fun it was to be able to chat with Zach Johnson about all the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on at the Masters, talking about the St. Louis Cardinals and him down at Frederica and Sea Island, Georgia, and just what a great guy. Zach, I really, really appreciate your time spent on the podcast today. We're pulling for you. We hope to see that green jacket around your shoulders another time in the very, very near future. So once again, thank you. For you, if you want more information on this episode, you want any of the links to any of the stuff that we talked about, just go to 18strong.com/Zach, and you can find all the show notes for this episode here. Again, want to say a big thank you to the sponsors of the show, Super Speed Golf, where you can go to 18strong.com/superspeed to check out the Overspeed training system, get your hands on the Super Speed Golf Club system, and don't forget to use the code 18strong to get your 10% discount. And then lastly, there is no way that I couldn't thank the one person that helped make this episode possible, which is Dr. Troy Van Biesen, who works with Zach. He's the chiropractor to the stars, is what I like to call him. Works with Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Jason Duffner, Ryan Palmer. I mean, you name it. He's got so many of the guys that are on tour. And Dr. Troy was very instrumental in setting up this whole interview. So, Troy, thanks, man. Really, really appreciate it. You can check out his episode, which was episode number 69. I want to thank you for joining me here on the 18 Strong Podcast. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the 18 Strong podcast on either iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to your podcast. And please go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all the social media networks so you can keep up with all the great episodes, all the great guests that we have here on the show. Thanks for joining me. Train hard, practice smart, play better golf.
Thanks for listening to the 18 Strong podcast at www.18strong.com. And remember, train hard, practice smart, and play better golf.
I mean, the whole week, starting on Thursday, tapping in on Sunday, Easter Sunday, it was special. Having my family there, having some friends there. I don't know what Storybook is, but it's got to be pretty close to Storybook.